If you don't train your mind from the inside, the world will train it for you. And the world will never train you to be calm. It will never train you to be focused. It will never train you to be strong. The world trains you to react. The world trains you to doubt. The world trains you to run from your own potential. Most people don't even notice when their minds start slipping away from them. They wake up with a spark of motivation, but the moment they pick up their phone, the spark is gone. One notification pulls them into stress. One message ruins their morning. One negative thought sends them into a spiral they never intended to enter, and before they even leave the house, their mind has already lost the day. But here's the part nobody tells you. Mental weakness doesn't start with big failures. It starts with small surrender. It starts with choosing distraction over discipline. It starts with letting emotions speak louder than truth. It starts with allowing the world to tell you who you are before you tell the world who you choose to be. And the longer you live this way, the more powerless you feel. Not because you lack potential, but because you never learned how to command your mind. A strong mind isn't a personality trait. A strong mind is a trained mind. You train it the same way you train your body. Through repetition, through intention, through simple but powerful habits repeated day after day. You train it when you choose clarity over chaos, when you choose discipline over impulse, when you choose to lead your emotions instead of being led by them. And the moment you begin that process, your entire life begins to shift. This audiobook is not about hype. It is not about quick motivation. It is not about giving you 50 feel-good quotes that disappear the moment life gets hard. This is mental training, real training. The kind that strips away the noise and teaches you how to stay steady in moments where most people collapse. The kind that gives you structure when your emotions want to take over. The kind that builds a level of clarity inside you that pressure cannot break. Because mental strength is not built by talking about it. Mental strength is built by practicing it. Over the next 90 minutes, you will learn how to build a mind that does not shake in the presence of difficulty. You will learn how to own your first hour of the day so the world doesn't steal it from you. You will learn how to protect your focus so your energy isn't scattered across 100 different places. You will learn how discomfort becomes the weight that shapes your inner muscles. You will learn how your words construct or destroy your identity. You will learn how finishing what you start repairs the self-respect you didn't know you were losing. You will learn how to reset quickly after failure, so your setbacks don't become your story. You will learn how calm becomes your greatest power when pressure rises. You will learn how to replace weak habits with stronger standards. You will learn how to win in private before you ever win in public. And you will learn why repetition, not motivation, is the real foundation of a powerful mind. Every chapter in this training follows the same rhythm: pain, principle, picture, practice, reflection, and a punchline that sticks with you. You will confront a real human struggle. You will learn the core rule that turns that struggle into strength. You will visualize the difference between weakness and power. You will be given practices that reshape your daily behavior. You will be asked questions that reveal who you truly are. And you will end each chapter with a statement that becomes a standard for how you think and act from this moment forward. This training is not about forcing yourself to be emotionless. It's about learning how to respond with wisdom instead of reaction. A strong mind doesn't silence emotions. A strong mind understands them, faces them, and directs them. A strong mind doesn't panic when something goes wrong. A strong mind pauses. A strong mind breathes. A strong mind leads. And that is exactly what you will learn here. How to lead yourself when your fear tries to lead you. How to ground yourself when life tries to shake you. And how to stay aligned with your standards when everything else tries to pull you off track. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Master your mornings. Most people lose the day before it even begins. They open their eyes, grab their phone, and let the world rush in before their mind has taken its first breath. One notification pulls them into someone else's agenda. One message steals their attention. One piece of news shifts their mood, and in less than 60 seconds, they've surrendered the strongest part of themselves without even realizing it. Your morning is your first battle, and most people lose it quietly. What happens in the first hour of your day decides the strength of your mind for the next 23. If you begin your day in chaos, your thoughts will scatter. If you begin it in silence, your thoughts will align. If you begin in reaction, you will spend the rest of the day trying to catch up. But if you begin with intention, you lead the day instead of being dragged by it. Winning your morning is not about being perfect. It's about being deliberate. A powerful morning doesn't require a miracle routine. It doesn't require waking up at 4 a.m. or performing a long list of complex habits. It requires ownership. It requires clarity. It requires a moment, a single moment, when you choose to lead your mind before allowing anything else to influence it. The truth is simple. If you win your first hour, you win your day. Because the first hour is the only time when the world hasn't touched you yet. No one has demanded your attention. No one has asked for your energy. No one has tried to influence your mindset. That hour belongs entirely to you. And who you become in that hour determines the version of yourself you bring into the world. When you wake up and immediately grab your phone, you hand your mind over to the outside world. You let other people's thoughts override your own. You let someone else's drama, urgency, or negativity set your emotional tone. And once that tone is set, it is incredibly difficult to undo. But when you wake up slowly, intentionally, consciously, something shifts. Your mind has space to breathe. Your thoughts have space to settle. Your emotions have space to align. And you begin your day not as a reactor, but as a leader. Your morning is your mental foundation, and a shaky foundation creates a shaky life. Imagine building a house. You don't start with the roof. You don't decorate the walls before the concrete sets. You don't rush the structure because everything rests on it. Your life is no different. Your morning is the concrete, the structure that determines your stability. When you build it with intention, the rest of your day becomes easier to navigate, even when pressure rises. Many people believe they're stressed because their job is demanding, because their relationships are complicated, or because life keeps throwing unpredictable challenges at them. Those things matter, but the deeper truth is this. Most people are overwhelmed, not because life is too hard, but because their mornings are too weak. A weak morning drains you before the day begins. A strong morning fuels you long before life tests you. Strength isn't something you magically find in the middle of chaos. It's something you build long before the chaos arrives. When you give yourself a strong start, you carry that strength through every conversation, every decision, every obstacle, and every moment that tries to shake you. You walk differently. You think differently. You respond differently. You show up as someone who is centered and grounded because you prepared your mind before life had the chance to pull it apart. The first rule of mastering your morning is simple. Do not let the world enter before you do. You enter your mind by breathing, by becoming aware of your body, by noticing your thoughts without letting them control you, by giving yourself a few quiet moments to step into the day with clarity instead of chaos. Picture two different mornings. One person wakes up, grabs their phone immediately, scrolls through social media, checks email, sees something stressful, compares themselves to others, and then tries to start their day already mentally drained. They haven't even stood up yet, and their mind is cluttered with noise and negativity. The other person wakes up, sits up slowly, takes 5 controlled breaths, grounds their feet on the floor, rolls their shoulders back, and gives themselves a full minute to exist before letting anything else in. They open a notebook and write down the 3 most important tasks of the day. Not 10, not 20, just 3. Their mind becomes clear, their purpose sharpens, their energy aligns, and they step into the day with intention. These 2 people will live completely different lives. Not because one is smarter, luckier, or more talented, but because one chooses to lead their mind while the other lets everything else lead it. Your morning shapes your identity. When you choose discipline early in the day, you tell yourself, I lead, I decide, I choose my direction. And your mind obeys. It begins to trust your leadership. It begins to follow your intention. It begins to become stronger simply because you are showing it consistency. Chapter 2. Protect your focus. Most people don't lose their potential because they lack talent. They lose it because they cannot hold their focus long enough to let their talent work. Focus is the most valuable currency of the mind, and yet it's the currency people give away the fastest. They give it to notifications, they give it to distractions, they give it to impulses. They give it away to anything loud enough to grab their attention. You don't rise because you work harder than everyone. You rise because you focus deeper than everyone. Focus is not something you find by accident. Focus is something you must defend. Focus is something you must guard as if your future depends on it. Because it does. Every goal, every transformation, every new identity starts with your ability to hold your attention on what matters and ignore what doesn't. The world is loud, and if you don't protect your focus, the world will gladly steal it. Think about how easily your mind is pulled away. A single buzz from your phone and suddenly your thoughts shift. A single pop-up and your direction changes. A single moment of boredom and you reach for something to distract you. Your focus, the very thing that creates your future, is handed away for the smallest price. A scattered mind cannot build a strong life. A distracted mind cannot build deep work. A reactive mind cannot build a powerful identity. Most people do not realize how much they are losing. They think losing focus costs them a few minutes. It doesn't. Losing focus costs them momentum. It costs them clarity. It costs them confidence. It costs them the chance to reach levels of mastery that only come from long, uninterrupted concentration. If your mind is constantly being pulled apart, your life will be too. Your ability to focus is your ability to build. Your ability to protect your focus is your ability to rise. The people who create extraordinary lives are not always the smartest. They are simply the ones who can lock in, stay in, and remain in the deep work long enough for their efforts to compound. Here is the truth. Focus is not a feeling. Focus is a choice. It is not something you wait for. It is something you create through how you structure your environment, your time, and your mental boundaries. Focus grows in silence. It grows in intention. It grows when you remove everything that steals your attention and replace it with one clear priority. Imagine trying to pour water into a bottle with 10 holes. No matter how fast you pour, nothing fills. That is how most people live. They pour their energy into the day with good intentions, but their focus leaks through a dozen open channels. They wonder why they feel drained. They wonder why nothing is finished. They wonder why life feels chaotic. But the real reason is simple. They never close the leaks. Protecting your focus starts with eliminating what drains it, not reducing, eliminating. When you remove the noise, your mind becomes quieter. When your mind becomes quieter, your attention becomes sharper. When your attention sharpens, your work deepens. And when your work deepens, your identity shifts. You become someone who follows through, someone who completes, someone who doesn't get pulled away by every distraction that enters their environment. You cannot build a powerful mind on a weak environment. Your environment must support your focus, not destroy it. Look around your day. Look at your desk, your phone, your notifications, the people you allow access to your attention. Ask yourself one simple question. Is this strengthening my focus or weakening it? Your future depends on your ability to answer that, honestly. Most people live inside a world designed to break their focus. Their phone is within arm's reach. Their notifications are turned on. Their workspace is a mess. Their priorities are unclear. Their mental boundaries are non-existent. And then they wonder why they can't concentrate. It's not a mystery. It's a design flaw. Focus isn't luck. Focus is design. Design your environment in a way that makes distraction difficult and concentration effortless. Put the phone out of reach. Turn off notifications that do not contribute to your life. Clear your desk until only the essentials remain. Separate the spaces where you work from the spaces where you rest. When you create a focused environment, your mind naturally follows. But protecting your focus is not only about the external, it is also about the internal. You must train your mind to stay in one place long enough to build momentum. You must train it to resist the urge to check, to switch, to escape whenever you feel discomfort. Mental discomfort is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are entering the zone where growth happens. Your mind will try to escape deep work, not because it is weak, but because it is untrained. Every time you pull your attention back, you are building your mental muscles. Every time you resist the urge to check your phone, you are reinforcing your discipline. Every time you choose to stay with the task a few minutes longer, you're shaping a mind that does not break under pressure. The more you practice holding your attention, the more powerful you become. Chapter 3. Build strength through discomfort. Most people want a stronger mind, but they avoid the very thing that builds it: discomfort. They want confidence without facing fear. They want discipline without resisting temptation. They want growth without pressure. They want strength without struggle. But the truth is as old as human experience. You cannot become strong while staying comfortable. Discomfort is not your enemy. Discomfort is your teacher. Every breakthrough you've ever experienced came from a moment where you were pushed beyond your comfort zone. Every transformation in your life began with a decision to do something unfamiliar, uncertain, or difficult. Growth always hides behind resistance. The people who rise are not the ones who avoid discomfort. They are the ones who move toward it. A comfortable life does not make you safe. A comfortable life makes you soft. Soft minds break under pressure. Soft minds collapse when life becomes unpredictable. Soft minds panic when things stop going their way. And every day you choose comfort over challenge. You reinforce softness instead of strength. But here's the beautiful part. Strength is not something you're born with. Strength is something you build. And you build it the same way you build muscle, by giving yourself manageable, consistent doses of challenge. Not impossible challenges, not overwhelming ones, but small, deliberate steps into discomfort that expand your capacity over time. Discomfort is the gym of the mind, and every moment of resistance is a weight you can lift. When you lift physical weights, the goal isn't to destroy your muscles. The goal is to challenge them just enough so they break the old pattern and rebuild themselves stronger. The exact same thing happens with your mind. When you face your fears, when you resist distractions, when you follow through on difficult tasks, you stretch your mental fibers. You trigger growth. You build power. But when you avoid discomfort, your mind atrophies. Small fears become big fears. Small stresses become overwhelming. Small tasks feel impossible. Avoidance doesn't protect you. Avoidance weakens you. And the longer you avoid what's uncomfortable, the more control discomfort has over you. Your mind obeys what you repeatedly choose. If you choose comfort, your mind becomes fragile. If you choose challenge, your mind becomes strong. There is a version of you who no longer runs from hard things. A version of you who doesn't hesitate when discomfort appears. A version of you who moves toward challenge with a calm and steady confidence. That version of you already exists. But it is waiting to be built through consistent exposure to difficulty. So ask yourself this: why does discomfort feel so threatening? It feels threatening because your mind is wired for safety. Not emotional safety, physical safety. The same instinct that keeps you alive also keeps you inside the walls of familiarity. But modern discomfort is almost never dangerous. Making a difficult phone call won't kill you. Speaking the truth won't kill you. Exercising when you don't feel like it won't kill you. Pursuing a dream won't kill you. Your mind is trying to protect you from things that cannot hurt you. And that protection is holding you back. Once you understand this, discomfort becomes less intimidating. You begin to see it for what it really is: a doorway. A signal that you're entering territory that will expand you. A sign that you're stepping into a new identity. A moment where you get to choose strength over fear. Discomfort is not punishment. Discomfort is opportunity. Think about every person you admire, every champion, every leader, every creator, every individual who built something people respect. None of them lived comfortable lives. None of them avoided difficulty. None of them hid from challenge. Their strength was built brick by brick through moments where they leaned forward instead of stepping back. Your life is asking the same thing of you. Lean forward. The most practical way to build mental strength is simple. Choose one small discomfort every day. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It doesn't need to be extreme. It just needs to challenge you slightly more than yesterday. That's all. Small, consistent discomfort builds long-lasting strength. Wake up earlier than you want. Work out when you feel lazy. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Do the task you keep delaying. Tell the truth when lying would be easier. Sit in silence instead of reaching for your phone. These moments reshape you. They train your mind to stop retreating. They deepen your capacity to handle pressure. They turn fear into familiarity and resistance into resilience. Every moment of discomfort is a rep, and every rep builds strength. But the most important part is this. Don't negotiate with yourself. The enemy of mental strength is self-negotiation. It's the small voice that whispers, "Do it later. Do it tomorrow. Do it when you feel ready." That voice does not want to help you. That voice wants to protect your comfort, not your potential. Chapter 4. Command your words. Most people underestimate the power of their words. They speak without thinking, promise without intention, react without awareness, and express emotions they never meant to release. And over time, something subtle but devastating happens. They stop trusting themselves. Not because life betrayed them, but because their own words did. Your words shape your identity. Your words create your direction. Your words reveal your discipline. Every sentence you speak is a message to your mind about who you are. When you say you will do something and you actually follow through, your identity becomes stronger. But when you say things you don't mean, when you promise things you don't keep, or when you speak impulsively, your identity weakens. Your mind stops believing you. And once your mind stops believing your words, it becomes almost impossible to build real strength. You cannot build a strong mind on weak language. Words are not just sounds. Words are agreements. Agreements with yourself. Agreements with your values. Agreements with your future. When you break your own agreements, you break your own self-respect. And nothing destroys mental strength faster than losing respect for yourself. This is why learning to command your words is one of the most powerful mental skills you can develop. It is not about talking less or becoming harsh. It is about speaking with intention. It is about meaning what you say. It is about allowing your words to match your actions so your identity remains aligned instead of fragmented. Strong people do not speak recklessly. Strong people speak deliberately. Every powerful leader, every disciplined champion, every grounded and resilient person shares this trait. Their words are precise. Their promises are few but solid. Their language is controlled, intentional, purposeful. They do not speak to impress. They speak to align. They speak to declare who they are and what they stand for. Your words are a mirror. They reveal your internal truth. If your words are scattered, your mind is scattered. If your words are careless, your discipline is careless. If your words are soft and uncertain, your actions will be soft and uncertain. But when your language becomes firm, clear, steady, and intentional, your thoughts begin to align. Your decisions strengthen. Your identity solidifies. There is a simple rule that separates strong minds from weak ones. Say what you mean. Mean what you say. When your words and your actions match, you rise. When they do not, you stay stuck in the same patterns, repeating the same cycles, sabotaging your own growth. Most people don't realize that inconsistency in speech leads to inconsistency in behavior. They think words are harmless. They think promises don't matter. They think no one notices. But someone always does, themselves. Breaking your word is breaking your self-image, and nothing is harder to rebuild than a broken identity. Think about how often people make casual promises. I'll start tomorrow. I'll wake up early. I'll eat better. I'll stop wasting time. They say these things with no real intention of following through. They speak them to feel good for the moment, not to build a future. And every time they break that promise, their mind learns something. I can't trust myself. A mind that cannot trust itself cannot be strong. Your strength comes from internal alignment. Your discipline comes from internal honesty. Your confidence comes from keeping your word, not to others, but to yourself. External respect means nothing if internal respect is missing. So ask yourself the hard question. Do you keep your own word? Do you do what you say you will do? Do you follow through when no one is watching? Do you speak with intention or with impulse? Do your words protect your identity or weaken it? Answer honestly. because your future depends on that honesty. Most people struggle with their words not because they are dishonest, but because they are careless. They speak too fast. They promise too freely. They react emotionally. They say yes when they mean no. They speak to avoid discomfort, not to honor their values. And with every careless word, they drift further from the disciplined version of themselves. Commanding your words begins with slowing down. Not slowing down your life, slowing down your mouth. A powerful person does not rush to speak. A powerful person pauses. They think, they feel, they observe, they choose, and then they speak with clarity. Their words become a tool, not a liability. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. When you pause before you speak, you give yourself the time to respond instead of react. You give yourself the time to choose intention over emotion. You give yourself the time to speak a truth instead of a temporary feeling. And that pause becomes the birthplace of discipline. Another part of commanding your words is learning to speak less but mean more. Many people speak excessively because they are uncomfortable with silence. They fill the space with useless noise to avoid feeling exposed. But the strongest individuals know that silence is not empty. Silence is powerful. Silence allows your words to land with more weight when you finally choose to use them. Your language gains value when you stop wasting it. Then comes the most important part: integrity. Keeping your word is the fastest way to build internal strength. Even small promises matter. When you tell yourself you will wake up at a certain time, and you do, your identity strengthens. When you tell yourself you will finish a task, and you finish it, your identity strengthens. When you say you will show up, and you show up, your identity strengthens. Identity is built from kept promises. Weak identity is built from broken ones. Every time your actions match your words, your self-trust grows, and self-trust is the core of mental strength. When you trust yourself, you don't need motivation, you don't need approval, you don't need permission. You simply act because you know who you are. You act because your identity is not negotiable. Chapter 5. Finish what you start. Most people are not defeated by failure. They are defeated by unfinished beginnings. They start with excitement, quit when it gets difficult, and carry the weight of 1,000 abandoned projects on their back. The burden of unfinished work is heavier than the burden of hard work. And yet most people continue to choose it every single day. Starting is easy. Finishing is rare. And that is why finishing is powerful. Every unfinished task, every abandoned plan, every project you leave hanging creates a small fracture inside your identity. You may not notice it immediately, but your mind does. It sees the inconsistency. It remembers the promises you didn't keep. It stores the evidence of your hesitation, and over time, those fractures accumulate until your confidence begins to collapse. A strong mind is not built by starting. A strong mind is built by finishing. Finishing is a skill. It's a discipline. It's a mindset. It's a commitment to follow through even when the excitement fades, even when the motivation disappears, even when the process becomes uncomfortable. When you finish something, you're telling your mind, I am someone who completes. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who does what I say. Identity grows every time you finish. Identity shrinks every time you quit. Most people quit not because the task is impossible, but because the discomfort becomes louder than the goal. They stop when the work gets boring, when the results slow down, when the fear of imperfection rises. They tell themselves they will return to it later, but later seldom comes. The world is full of people who almost finished. People with half-written books, half-learned skills, half-kept promises, half-lived potential. Your life cannot change if you only finish halfway. Momentum comes from completion. Confidence comes from completion. Discipline comes from completion. Every time you close a loop, your mind becomes sharper. Every time you complete something you once avoided, your mind becomes stronger. When you finish what you start, you build the quiet kind of self-respect that no one can take away from you. The truth is this: unfinished work drains you. Finished work energizes you. Think about how many invisible drains you carry, the tasks you keep postponing, the ideas you keep thinking about but never execute. the goals you have commit to, the responsibilities you say you'll get to soon. These things pull on your energy, even when you are not consciously thinking about them. They clutter your mental space. They create background noise that follows you everywhere. Your mind cannot fully focus on the present when it is tied to the past. And unfinished work is the past pulling you backward. If you want clarity, finish. If you want confidence, finish. If you want momentum, finish. If you want a stronger mind, finish. A person who finishes even small things becomes unstoppable in big things. Finishing does not require perfection. Finishing requires commitment. You don't need to complete things flawlessly. You don't need to do them as fast as others. You don't need to do them with excitement every time. You simply need to stay with a task until it reaches the version that matters. Completion builds identity, not perfection. There is a powerful shift that happens when you choose finishing as a personal standard. You stop chasing constant novelty. You stop abandoning things when they get difficult. You stop wasting energy on new beginnings that lead nowhere. Instead, you build depth. You build discipline. You build follow-through. Your mind learns that you are someone who does not quit. And once your mind believes that, your life begins to change. So ask yourself right now, how many things have you started but never finished? Think of the projects you left behind. Think of the commitments you broke. Think of the goals you walked away from too early. Not to shame yourself, but to understand the truth. These loose ends are shaping your identity more than you realize. The good news is this: you can rebuild your identity through completion. One finished task at a time. One closed loop at a time. One promise kept at a time. Start small. Choose one unfinished thing. Something manageable. Something real. Something you've ignored for too long. Finish it. Not perfectly. Just finish it. And when you do, notice what changes inside you. Notice the lift. Notice the clarity. Notice the shift in how you see yourself. Completion creates internal momentum. Once you finish one thing, you'll feel the desire to finish another. And another. You start to break the habit of quitting and replace it with the habit of completing. Your mind begins to anticipate the satisfaction of finishing instead of the thrill of starting. And that shift, that subtle psychological shift, changes everything. Finishing what you start is not just about productivity. It's about identity. It's about self-leadership. It's about becoming someone you can rely on. A person who finishes is a person who becomes powerful. Because once you trust yourself to follow through, the world becomes less intimidating. Challenges become manageable. Goals become reachable. Discipline becomes natural. You no longer fear long-term commitments because you know you can carry them to the end. Finishing gives you an internal foundation that nothing and no one can shake. Chapter 6. Reset your mindset fast. There are moments when life hits harder than expected. A plan falls apart. A mistake spirals. A comment stings more than it should. A single setback can flip your entire emotional state in seconds, dragging your confidence down with it. And when your mindset collapses, everything else follows. The mind is powerful, but the mind is also fragile when unchecked. When something goes wrong, the natural reaction is to internalize it. You begin telling yourself stories. Stories that magnify the problem, distort reality, and turn a small setback into a personal identity crisis. What was just a mistake suddenly becomes, I always mess things up. What was just a delay becomes, nothing ever works for me. A single moment becomes your whole narrative. A broken moment is not a broken identity, but your mind will convince you otherwise if you don't reset quickly. That is why the ability to reset your mindset fast is one of the greatest mental skills you can develop. You cannot prevent every setback, but you can prevent a setback from becoming a downward spiral. You can stop the emotional avalanche before it gathers speed. You can interrupt the story your mind tries to write about you. When your mindset slips, your first job is not to fix the situation. Your first job is to fix your state. Because a chaotic mind cannot solve problems, a stressed mind cannot think clearly, a panicked mind cannot choose correctly. Before you take action, you must regain inner stability. You must create space between what happened and what you think it means. A strong mind does not avoid pressure. A strong mind resets under pressure. The reset begins with one simple truth. Your thoughts after a setback are the least trustworthy thoughts you will ever have. In those moments, your mind is emotional, biased, reactive, and overwhelmed. You are not thinking, you are spiraling. And spiraling is not clarity. So the first step is to pause. Not for an hour, not for a day, just for a breath. Pause long enough to interrupt the emotional pattern. Pause long enough to stop the momentum of panic. Pause long enough to make one conscious decision instead of 10 unconscious reactions. A single breath can change your direction. Once you pause, you open the space to reset. And the reset itself rests on 3 guiding questions that bring your mind back into alignment. What can I control? What can I learn? What is the next small step? These questions pull you out of the emotional fog and return you to clarity. They shift you from helplessness to responsibility, from confusion to direction, from collapse to composure. What can I control? This question stops the spiral of overthinking. It pulls your attention away from fear and onto action. It reminds you that your power is not in worrying about the uncontrollable, but in directing your energy toward what is still in your hands. What can I learn? This question transforms failure into wisdom. It stops you from attacking yourself and allows you to analyze the situation with honesty instead of shame. Growth requires mistakes, but only if you choose to learn from them. What is the next small step? This question breaks paralysis. It keeps you from trying to fix everything at once. It grounds you in one clear action that rebuilds momentum and restores confidence. Clarity begins with one step, not a perfect plan. When you ask yourself these questions, you shift from emotion to intention. You begin to lead your mind instead of letting your mind lead you. And once you take back leadership, you reclaim the strength you momentarily lost. But the reset is not only mental, it is physical. Your body carries your mindset. When you're overwhelmed, your breath changes, your posture changes, your energy shrinks, your movements tighten, your body collapses inward, and your mind follows. This is why resetting your physical state is one of the fastest ways to reset your mindset. Stand up. Roll your shoulders back. Take slow, controlled breaths. Feel your feet on the ground. Reclaim your space. Your body can shift your mind faster than your thoughts can. Resetting your mindset also requires controlling your language. The words you use in a setback are the blueprint your mind uses to respond. If your language becomes catastrophic, this always happens. I can't do anything right. Everything is falling apart. Your emotions will mirror that story, and your actions will mirror your emotions. Language is the steering wheel of your mind. So change your language to something grounded, neutral, and clear. Not delusional, not overly positive, just honest. This is a challenge, but I can handle it. This isn't ideal, but it's not the end. I've faced worse than this. Let me take the next step. Your words can either break you or steady you. Chapter 7. Stay calm under pressure. Pressure exposes who you truly are. When everything is going well, anyone can appear confident, composed, and disciplined. But when situations tighten, when emotions rise, when expectations collide with reality, that is where your true mental strength is revealed. Under pressure, your inner state becomes visible. Every untrained part of your mind rises to the surface. A calm mind is not the default. A calm mind is the result of training. Pressure does not create your weaknesses. It reveals them. It pulls your fears to the front. It magnifies your insecurities. It exposes the parts of you that still need development. And this is not a bad thing. Pressure is an invitation to grow, to sharpen, to strengthen, to evolve. Calmness is power, because calmness gives you access to clarity. When your mind is calm, you can see the truth of a situation. When your mind is calm, you can evaluate rather than react. You can respond intentionally rather than emotionally. You can choose your direction instead of being pulled by panic. But when your mind is chaotic, everything becomes distorted. Problems appear bigger than they are. Solutions appear further than they are. Your ability to think becomes compromised. Pressure does not break you. Confusion under pressure breaks you. The first step to staying calm is understanding what pressure actually is. Pressure is not danger. Pressure is expectation. Pressure is attention. Pressure is a moment that requires your fullest presence. It is not there to destroy you. It is there to reveal what kind of person you've trained yourself to be. You stay calm by preparing before the pressure comes, not during it. A storm is not the time to start building a roof. The moment you're overwhelmed is not the moment to start training your emotional control. Calmness is a habit built long before the moment you need it. Every chapter before this has been preparing you for this one. The morning discipline, the focus protection, the willingness to do hard things, the power of your words, the ability to reset. All of these are training for pressure. Calm under pressure is not an accident. It is a practiced identity. And that identity is built through one fundamental idea. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. This means your first response in a high-pressure moment is not to act impulsively, but to slow down your inner world. The slower your mind moves, the clearer your decisions become. Clarity is not found in speed. Clarity is found in stillness. You must reclaim control of your breath, because the breath controls the mind. When pressure rises, your breath becomes shallow. Your chest tightens. Your body shifts into survival mode. And survival mode shuts down your ability to think. This is why the fastest path back to calm is through the breath. Slow, controlled breathing brings your nervous system back into balance. It signals to your mind that you are not in danger. It grounds you. One long breath can prevent a long regret. People make their worst decisions when they are emotionally overwhelmed. They say things they do not mean. They take actions they cannot undo. They react from fear rather than from strength. And when the moment passes, they're left with consequences created by a version of themselves that wasn't thinking. Calmness protects you from self-destruction. Staying calm under pressure also requires separating emotion from identity. Feeling overwhelmed does not mean you are weak. Feeling fear does not mean you are incapable. Feeling stressed does not mean you are breaking. Emotions are signals, not definitions. They communicate what your body is experiencing, not who you are. You can feel pressure without becoming pressure. Your mind becomes calm when you allow emotions to exist without letting them lead. Let them surface. Let them pass through. But do not give them the steering wheel. Pressure wants you to panic. Pressure wants you to rush. Pressure wants you to abandon the standards you've built. Your job is to refuse. Refuse to be rushed. Refuse to be reactive. Refuse to be controlled by emotions that will not exist tomorrow. Calmness is the ability to stay rooted when everything around you is shaking. It is the ability to hold your center when life tries to pull you off balance. It is the ability to look at chaos without becoming chaotic yourself. To develop this, you must practice in small moments. Calmness during major events is built through calmness during minor ones. When someone speaks to you disrespectfully, pause. When a situation becomes tense, breathe. When your day becomes overwhelming, slow your thoughts. These small moments build the emotional muscle you rely on during the big moments. You become calm under pressure by choosing calmness when pressure is small. There will always be voices in your head trying to push you into panic. The voice of fear, the voice of doubt, the voice of insecurity. These voices become louder during pressure, but they are not wiser. They are not guiding you. They are reacting to the unknown, and your calmness is the counter-leader to those voices. Calmness is leadership. Not leadership over others, leadership over yourself. Leadership over your mind, your emotions, your reactions, your decisions. When you stay calm, you are choosing to lead yourself instead of being led by stress. There is also a powerful truth to remember. Pressure is a privilege. Pressure only appears in moments that matter. Pressure shows up when you are attempting something meaningful. Pressure is a sign that you are stretching your abilities, not failing them. Chapter 8. Replace old habits with strong standards. What you repeatedly do shapes who you become, not your intentions, not your dreams, not the goals you write down once a year, your habits. Your daily actions carve your identity one small decision at a time. And the habits you choose today will determine the strength of your mind tomorrow. Habits are the architecture of your life. Standards are the architecture of your character. Changing your habits is one of the most difficult parts of building mental strength. Not because you are weak, but because your brain has spent years wiring certain behaviors into automatic patterns. Your mind loves repetition. It loves familiarity. It loves predictability. Even if the habit is destructive, your brain will choose it over something new simply because it is known. You don't break habits through force. You break habits through replacement. The mind doesn't like empty space. When you try to eliminate a bad habit without replacing it with something better, the space it leaves behind becomes uncomfortable, and discomfort always pushes you back toward the old behavior. A habit cannot simply be removed. It must be overwritten. Old habits don't disappear. They get crowded out by stronger standards. A standard is a rule you accept for your life, a rule that is non-negotiable. Standards are not goals. Goals exist in the future. Standards exist right now. Goals depend on what you want. Standards depend on who you choose to be. And when your standards rise, your habits naturally follow. Bad habits fade not because you fight them, but because you outgrow them. Think of your habits like paths in a forest. The more you walk a path, the clearer and stronger it becomes. Your old habits are well-worn paths, easy to follow, automatic, familiar. But the moment you start creating a new path, a new habit, the old path begins to weaken. Grass grows over it. The trail becomes less visible. It stops being your default route. You replace habits by walking a new path long enough for the old one to disappear. This process begins with honesty, not emotional honesty, behavioral honesty. Ask yourself, what habit is weakening me? Be brutally truthful. Maybe it's the habit of scrolling late at night. Maybe it's procrastination. Maybe it's avoiding discomfort. Maybe it's overeating. Maybe it's wasting time on conversations that don't matter. Maybe it's checking your phone every time you feel bored. Weak habits steal your future in small increments. Strong habits build it the same way. Once you identify the habit that is holding you back, your next step is not to attack it or try to eliminate it. That approach rarely works. Instead, ask yourself, what standard would make this habit impossible to keep? If your standard is, I am someone who sleeps before midnight, scrolling until 2 a.m. becomes incompatible. If your standard is, I am someone who honors my mornings, staying up mindlessly loses its appeal. If your standard is, I am someone who finishes what I start, procrastination becomes an identity violation. You cannot keep a weak habit if it violates a strong standard. Standards reshape identity. Identity reshapes behavior. And behavior reshapes your life. The mistake people make is focusing on the habit instead of the identity behind it. You don't stop procrastinating by trying harder. You stop procrastinating by becoming someone who values discipline more than comfort. You don't stop overindulging by resisting temptation. You stop by becoming someone who respects your body and values your energy. You don't stop wasting hours on your phone by forcing yourself to change. You stop by becoming someone who prioritizes clarity and presence. A strong identity makes weak habits irrelevant. Replacing habits also requires clarity about your triggers. Habits are loops, cue, action, reward. If you don't understand what triggers your old habit, you will repeat it unconsciously. So notice the moments where your habit appears. Notice the emotions tied to it. Notice the situations that make it harder to resist. Awareness is the first step to replacement. You cannot change a pattern you cannot see. Once you understand the loop, design a new one. Replace the action with something aligned to your standards. Reach for a book instead of your phone. Take a walk instead of numbing yourself. Do 5 minutes of cleaning instead of scrolling. Drink water instead of stress eating. Write your thoughts instead of suppressing them. These actions may feel small, but small actions done consistently change everything. Change is built on small exchanges, one small replacement at a time. Another key to replacing habits is lowering the barrier to the new behavior. If the new habit is too hard, your mind will retreat to the old one. Make the new action easier. Make it accessible. Make it simple enough that you can do it even on your worst days. You don't need perfection. You need consistency. Consistency rewires your brain. Consistency builds your standards. Consistency turns a habit into a part of who you are. Chapter 9. Win when no one is watching. The truest version of you is the one that shows up in private, not the version you present to others, not the one shaped by praise, pressure, or expectations. The real you is revealed in the moments when the room is empty, when no one is checking on you, when no one will ever know what you chose to do. Character is built in silence. Strength is built in solitude. When you're alone, the world is no longer influencing your behavior. There are no eyes to impress, no applause to earn, no judgments to avoid. And in that space, your choices become pure reflections of who you truly are. Do you uphold your standards when no one will notice? Do you stay disciplined when there is no reward? Do you honor your commitments even when the outside world offers no validation? Winning in private is where real transformation happens, because private victories create public confidence. There is a powerful shift that happens when you begin treating your private life with the same seriousness you treat your public life. You stop performing discipline and start becoming disciplined. You stop pretending to be strong and start building strength. You stop relying on motivation and start relying on identity. Identity is not who you say you are. Identity is who you are when no one is watching. The world is filled with people who look disciplined in front of others, but fall apart behind closed doors. Their habits depend on who is around them. Their standards depend on external accountability. Their effort depends on being seen. But that type of discipline is fragile. The moment the attention goes away, so does their consistency. Private discipline is the only discipline that lasts. To win in private, you must value integrity more than image. Integrity isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. It's about doing what you said you would do, not for others, but for yourself. It's about respecting your own standards even when no one else will ever know the difference. If you cannot trust yourself in private, you will never feel strong in public. Private wins don't need to be dramatic. Sometimes the quietest wins are the most important ones. Waking up when you said you would, even if no one else will know. Finishing a habit you committed to, even if no one sees the result. Choosing the harder path when the easier one would be invisible. These moments shape you. These moments define you. These moments build the inner confidence you can't fake. Confidence is not built from compliments. Confidence is built from consistency. The more you keep your private promises, the more unshakable you become. You begin to trust your own word. You begin to rely on your own discipline. You begin to see yourself as someone capable of doing hard things, even when no one is holding you accountable. This is how quiet confidence is born. This is how mental strength becomes natural. Winning in private also means facing the parts of yourself you normally hide. The weaknesses, the fears, the insecurities, the habits you don't want others to see. Growth requires honesty, and honesty requires privacy. You cannot evolve if you avoid your truth. Solitude exposes the work you still need to do. It is in silence that you realize where you've been lying to yourself. It is in stillness that you hear the excuses you've been using. It is in solitude that you understand which habits are holding you back. This self-awareness is not comfortable, but it is necessary. Without it, there can be no transformation. Growth begins when you stop running from the mirror. Winning when no one is watching also requires being intentional with how you use your alone time. You can waste hours without anyone knowing, or you can use those hours to rise. Every quiet moment is a chance to sharpen your mind, deepen your skills, strengthen your discipline, and move closer to the person you want to become. Private time is not empty. Private time is powerful. Even 5 minutes of private discipline each day compounds into something remarkable over time. 5 minutes of reading, 5 minutes of journaling, 5 minutes of organizing your space, 5 minutes of training your body, 5 minutes of resisting a bad habit. These small, quiet victories build a foundation stronger than any loud accomplishment ever could. The world will judge you by what you do in public, but your life will be shaped by what you do in private. Chapter 10. Repeat the fundamentals. Daily mastery is not built through complexity. Mastery is built through repetition. The fundamentals, the simple, essential actions that strengthen your mind and shape your identity, are the very things people tend to overlook. Not because they don't work, but because they work slowly. They don't give you instant results. They don't impress anyone. They don't provide the excitement people chase. And yet, they are the foundation of every strong life. The fundamentals are not glamorous, but they are transformative. When you look at anyone who has built remarkable discipline, extraordinary resilience, or deep internal strength, the pattern is always the same. They didn't rise because of a life-changing event. They rose because of daily repeated actions, done long after motivation faded and long before results appeared. Greatness is not dramatic. Greatness is consistent. Your mind becomes strong through small behaviors repeated thousands of times, not through rare moments of intensity, not through occasional bursts of effort, not through short-lived motivation. Strength is accumulated the way mountains are formed, layer by layer, year after year. A strong mind is built on fundamentals the same way a strong body is built on basic exercises. You do them not because they are exciting, but because they are effective. You repeat them not because you feel like it, but because they shape the person you are becoming. Repetition is the mother of identity. Identity is the mother of discipline. What you repeat becomes who you are. Every time you practice a fundamental, you reinforce your standard. Every time you honor your standard, you strengthen your identity. And once your identity becomes solid, discipline stops being something you force. It becomes something you are. The challenge is not in knowing what the fundamentals are. You already know them. Wake up with intention. Protect your focus. Move your body. Speak with integrity. Do the uncomfortable work. Finish what you start. Reset when you fall. Stay calm when pressured. Live by strong standards. The fundamentals are not a mystery. The difficulty lies in returning to them every single day. Repetition requires humility. Repetition requires patience. Repetition requires discipline long before it becomes natural. The ego hates repetition. It wants novelty, shortcuts, hacks, and instant transformation. It wants results without the process. But the mind grows through the process. The slow, repetitive refinement of the same basic actions. When you repeat the fundamentals, you eliminate the chaos of inconsistency. You stop starting over. You stop relying on motivation. You stop sabotaging your progress. You stop drifting in and out of random bursts of effort. You create a rhythm, a dependable, grounded rhythm that builds momentum one day at a time. Momentum is not created by intensity. Momentum is created by repetition. And once momentum begins building, everything becomes easier. You stop negotiating with yourself. Your habits become automatic. Your discipline becomes instinctive. Your emotional stability increases. Your inner world becomes organized. You stop feeling like you're fighting yourself because your actions and identity finally match. Repetition is how you become aligned. The fundamentals also protect you from overwhelming yourself. When you chase complexity, you burn out. When you overthink, you stall. When you try to upgrade everything at once, you do nothing consistently. Repeating the basics prevents mental overload. It keeps you grounded in what truly matters. It simplifies your path. Simplicity is not weakness. Simplicity is clarity. Simple, repeated actions create extraordinary results. There will be days when the fundamentals feel boring. Days when you don't want to wake up early. Days when your focus slips. Days when discomfort feels too heavy. Days when finishing feels impossible. Days when resetting feels pointless. Days when calmness seems out of reach. Days when your standards feel higher than your energy. These days are not a sign that you're failing. These days are the reason the fundamentals matter. The fundamentals carry you through the days when motivation disappears. They carry you through stress, fatigue, doubt, and pressure. They carry you through the seasons of life when everything feels heavy. When your emotions become unpredictable. When your progress slows. When your path feels uncertain. The fundamentals anchor you. The person who repeats the basics on their worst days becomes unstoppable on their best days. Repetition also forces you to confront the truth about your patterns. You cannot hide from yourself when you repeat the same foundational actions daily. The fundamentals expose your distractions. They expose your excuses. They expose where you're still negotiating with yourself. They expose your next level of growth. Repetition reveals what needs to be strengthened. Over time, repeating the fundamentals becomes a spiritual practice, a way of aligning yourself with discipline, clarity, calmness, and purpose. It becomes a conversation between you and the person you're trying to become. Every day you repeat the basics, you cast a vote for your future identity. You've reached the end of this training, but not the end of your transformation. These 10 chapters were not designed to motivate you for a moment. They were designed to reshape the way you live, the way you think, and the way you show up for yourself. You didn't just listen to ideas. You built a foundation. You built clarity. You built discipline. You built strength. And now comes the part that truly matters. What you do next. Knowledge only becomes power when it turns into action. You already know how to master your mornings, protect your focus, embrace discomfort, command your words, finish what you start, reset fast, stay calm under pressure, replace weak habits with strong standards, win in private, and repeat the fundamentals daily. These are not theories. These are tools. Tools for life, tools for identity, tools for building a mind that cannot be shaken. Your job now is simple. Live what you learned. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to master everything overnight. You don't need to transform instantly. You only need to begin. Begin with one habit, one standard, one decision that aligns with the person you want to become. Because transformation is built from moments, not miracles. And every moment you choose strength, you shift your identity one step closer to the version of you that's been waiting to emerge. Your life will not rise all at once. Your life will rise gradually. The same way strength rises. One consistent morning, one focused hour, one difficult decision you don't run from, one promise kept, one calm breath under pressure, one fundamental repeated again and again.